Hello, Aries friends. I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my Aries June 2023 Astrology Horoscope Forecast. This is for you if Aries is your sun sign, your moon sign, or your rising sign like me, or any other Aries placement that you're listening for. What we're going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. And if you're a very late degree Aries friend, so birthdays like April 15th through the rest of the sign, or Aries placements around 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, I suggest you additionally listen to my Taurus report, as both the Aries and Taurus report will have pieces for you very late degree friends. I'm calling the theme of the month for Aries, 9 keys to Aries happiness in June and beyond. I'm going to go into all of those keys. First, I want to give you a few tidbits that are very important about the general energy of the month that you will definitely need to know. The first thing is we do have slightly more sweet aspects compared to salty ones. So we'll have those road bumps from the inharmonious conversations that some of the planets are having, but we'll definitely have lots of blessed spaces. So that's exciting. Something else very notable is we are easing out of the heat of eclipse season. And for Aries, this is a big deal because in April, we started a new eclipse cycle that's weaving into the one that's ending. We have Taurus-Scorpio eclipse cycle. It was the second to last manifestation, with the last one happening at the end of 2023. That cycle has been intact since the end of 2021. So for almost 2 years, we've had eclipses in a difficult angle for us that has really been centered around our money and sustainability versus other people's money and our shared resources. And now with the new introduction of the Aries Libra eclipse cycle, we are in the hot seat. So that's for better and worse. We've got lots of big goodbyes and big hellos and radical life-changing experiences. And by the time you're listening to this, a lot of that information might have already come through. Here in June, what's important to know is that although the eclipses themselves were in April and May, we still are in eclipse season, and news and information and events from those eclipses still can be coming in June. But we are out of the greatest heat of the eclipse season, which means your nervous system might start to settle down a bit, might not feel like your finger is stuck in a socket for an extended period of time. You may have more ease sleeping, and you'll start to have a little more clarity as to how these changes might really start to look. Because as the potentials came up in April and May with the eclipse potentials, we were in the Mercury retrograde fog. So it's not really until June that we start to see, hey, what is this going to look like? And it's a good space to start to make some decisions. If you want to better understand how those eclipses might be affecting you, I suggest you listen to my April and May reports because they go into details about that, which we're not going to cover here, but it is still influencing now here in June. Okay, so basically Aries is starting a brand new cycle of major initiation along the lines of me meaning you and other people. One of the most important things to know about this month is that although we are out of the Mercury retrograde fog, that's amazing, we are going to start diving into the Venus retrograde fog, which starts around June 19th. But until then, so from June 1st through June 19th, we're going to have the last open period free from personal planet retrogrades and their shadow periods that we'll have until October. So on June 19th, the pre-transit shadow period before the Venus retrograde begins. And since Venus rules love and relationships and romance and money and finances and income and self-esteem and beauty and design and so much more, there are definitely going to be a lot of implications, but nothing to be afraid of because first of all, Venus is going to do this whole circuit in fellow fire sign of Leo. So the whole time that Venus is doing it's going through Leo, going backwards through Leo, going back forwards through Leo. So basically a very extended tour through Leo. It's going to be making awesome angles for us. And soon we'll get up to some of the implications of that. But for the purpose of this discussion, it's important to understand and differentiate between the energy that's not in the Venus retrograde time and that is purely direct. So June 1st through June 19th, it's this amazing time where everything is moving outward and forward. The tides are going out. It's the time to push, to make things happen, to launch, to, make effort, to take the bull by the horns, as Aries likes to do. And then as the month goes on and we get towards the end, it's a time to have already woven your extra spider webs in the first, several weeks. And now you hang out and you see what comes into your web. The retrograde is more of an inward and backward energetic. And so, not to say that you can't go and actively do things, but in general, your best outcomes are going to be by taking things like opportunities that come to you and doing something with them, not necessarily actively going out and trying to find opportunities or make things happen. It's more kind of seeing what your webs that you've already worked hard to make are going to trap for you to come to you. And going back over things from the past, blessings from the past, harmony from the past, opportunities, and in some cases, challenges from the past. I love Venus retrograde. So I don't fear Venus retrograde. There are definitely things that can come up, and depending on different placements in your chart, there are different, challenges that could occur. But in general, if you align your efforts and understand how Venus retrograde works, then there are so many wonderful things you can do with this. Now, I'll talk about it more over the months that it's actually retrograde, not just in the shadow here. But if you want to get a leg up on understanding this, Venus retrograde is one of my areas of expertise. So you can find my Venus retrograde, just search for Annie Botticelli Venus retrograde YouTube video and get a nice encapsulation of the story there. You can also go to anniehelpsyou.com, click on the blog section, and find my Venus retrograde do's and don'ts blog, as well as my Venus retro through the signs and houses blog series. And I have some other rogue Venus retrograde blogs there as well to really start to understand what we're working with. If you don't have my book already, Planetology, How to Align with the Natural Rhythms of the Universe, I do have a very large retrograde section there to really help you understand and work with personal planet retrogrades. But basically, just know that the first few weeks are going to be the best times for big decisions, gatherings, and plans. Basically, anything you have to schedule that you want to have an easier flow, anything that you want to have a forward-moving imprint for the duration of the time of that project. Engagements, weddings, big purchases or sales, moves, anything that you really need that extra oomph for. Okay, so now we can get on to these 9 keys to Aries happiness in June and beyond. The first key has to do with Chiron, still moving through Aries. This has been for years. It still is going to be there for years, but it's giving us opportunities to say goodbye to being limited by a foundational wound. Okay, so there's some kind of wound that you've got there. It's a tendency towards a challenge in a certain arena of your life. And this month, you can make some major headway in clearing that up, especially if you direct your attention to it. Okay, so you'll have much more happiness if you pay attention to what is limiting you and make some action towards clearing it up. And Chiron is there to help. The number 2 key to Aries happiness in June and beyond is to attune to better finances. This story of Taurus placements that really got strong last month is continuing this month. We've got short-term placements there. We've got long-term transits there. Jupiter is starting a 1-year tour through Taurus. Everything that goes on in the sign of Taurus also happens in the house of Taurus for Aries. Everything is always doubly true for us and intensified for us that way. So this is a time, this is a month, this is a year to really expect and look for and attune for better finances, whatever that means for you. Maybe you're working too much and you can scale it back a little bit and afford, to make less money. Maybe you can figure out ways to work smarter. Maybe you can earn more money for what you're already doing. Whatever your story is, attuning vibrationally to better finances and the steps you have to take and starting to initiate those steps. After a raw analysis, this is an amazing time for a raw analysis of your finances. Then, you can proceed with taking action on improving them. Many, many, many Aries people are going to see a drastic increase to your bottom line, to your finances, to your income in this next year. It's very common that when Jupiter does a transit through the second house, that this happens. So yay, this can also create more debt if you spend more than you have. So just be careful with that. And also if you wind up making a bunch more money, instead of just rising your standard of living right to all the money that's coming in, if you kind of leave a percentage down where you're living below your means, then you can invest and you can save and you can set things up for possibly leaner times at some other time. But everything is really about setting these foundational financial security, material types of topics and getting them straightened out. This may be a time where you buy some things that you've always wanted. This may be a time where you downsize and live in a tiny home. Your relationship to the material realm is drastically changing this month, this year. there's this month is a little hologram of some themes that are going to be present for the whole year, from May of this year through May of 2024. So your job now is to attune to better finances and see what you need to do to make them happen. All right, so the third key to Aries happiness in June and beyond is figuring out innovative financial solutions. So some of your happiness and joy is going to come from the energy of Uranus, which is also in Taurus, also in the second house, may have also been leading you to upsets or ups and downs or volatility in your financial sector, for you to use that Uranian energy to innovate, for technology to help you, to let something futuristic put you on the path to better finances, and if nothing futuristic is part of it, then just something innovative, something out of the box. This is a time when out of the box thinking is going to dramatically expand your finances. Okay, the fourth key to Aries happiness in June and beyond is to say yes to prolific expression and make the room for that. All right, so you've got the sun, star goddess Juno, Mercury is going to get there, and the new moon, which is in the days around June 18th at 26 degrees of Gemini. All of that energy is not only, again, in our sign, the sign of Gemini. For Aries, it's also in the house of Gemini, which is the third house. So that means expression, creation, the spoken word, writing, publishing, editing, anything having to do with that expression. So saying yes to prolific expression and capturing the ideas that are coming through at this time, and there will probably be many, is a really great key to happiness. All right, number 5 key to Aries happiness in June and beyond is travel. All of those same placements that I just talked about for those Gemini placements, and the full moon in Sagittarius, which is in the days around June 3rd at 13 degrees of Sag, are all travel energies. So many Aries, you'll notice you get the travel bug big time. It just happens to be that this, for many people, is summer break, right? Or something where you're ready to let loose anyway because of the weather or the change in weather. But this also, every year when the planets get into Gemini, this gives Aries the chance for the double travel bug, okay? So you get that new moon in Gemini, you get the full moon in Sag, and it really lights things up as potentials for international travel, local travel, day trips, overnight trips, long distance trips. And all of that is supercharged and can bring you great joy at this time. Now, before we get off the topic of travel, I want to talk about the degrees of these moons, okay? Because they're both in beautiful aspects for Aries. So not only do they have the potentials they have just from happening, they're also in a nice angle for us. So that adds more potential for blessings. So the 13-degree full moon in Sagittarius in the days around June 3rd, everyone can get goodies from that in the travel sector, international business, publishing, teaching, learning, education, all of that, fullness, completion, fruition of the full moon in those sectors. But those of us who have between 8 and 18 degrees, the closer to 13 degrees, the more you get the big kiss there. And so that's going to correspond with the last couple of days of March and the whole first week of April. And the closer to April 3rd, April 4th, and the days around there, the more, all of that group gets the biggest kiss from this full moon. But don't worry, no one's being left out of the potentials. And for the new moon in Gemini and the days around the 18th, that's 26 degrees. Okay, so everyone gets the potential goodies and the double goodies from the sign in the house being aspected. But those of you who are in the late degree spectrum, so that's 21 degrees through the rest of the sign, or April 11th through the rest of the sign, and the closer to April 17th, April 18th, the more you all get the kiss from that new moon. Okay, so the 6th key to Aries happiness in June and beyond is to plan extra fun. We have not only Mars, but also Venus traveling through the sign of Leo, which of course, again, for Aries is also the house of Leo, which is the house of fun and bucket list stuff, as I like to call it. Hobbies, just anything that sets your soul on fire and gets your fiery, airy juices flowing. So wherever Mars is, we tend to kind of get a little obsessed. So this is the energy of romance, of true love, of things that you always wanted to do, of fun, of leisure, of pleasure. And both of those planets traveling through there, and at some point they'll be in pretty close proximity, are all giving you a key to joy through that type of expression. And this also can have to do with creative expression. Okay, so the 7th key to Aries happiness in June and beyond is to accept a new way in relationships. That karmic clearing eclipse in Scorpio that happened in May really sets the tone for us here in June to have a lot less burden, karma, resentment, negative patterning in our relationship space. So either it closed out a relationship where the pattern just was never going to change, or it shut a chapter within the relationship or your relationship to relationship where now you're open to new chapters with that person or in general in relationships. So if you can accept and envision a new way in relationship, it may be easier to navigate through the open possibilities given by the karmic clearing from the eclipse that we're really now starting to get clarity about now. Okay, so the number 8 key to Aries happiness in June and beyond is to let tech blow your world wide open. AI and all kinds of technological advancements are going to so rapidly come into the scene. It's going to be shocking. And there are things we have to worry about with it, of course, but since it's here, there are benefits and there are ways that you can let technology and technological advancements, whether it's with your health, whether it's with your business, whether it's your day-to-day, your organization, to help to free you to blow your world wide open. So just kind of be open to and looking for, as Pluto has now entered Aquarius, the sign, and also for us, the house of the 11th house. Look for ways that these technological futuristic solutions can really blow your world wide open. The 9th key to Aries happiness in June and beyond is to harness your brain power. This is the story that is being told to us from Saturn in Pisces. Saturn in the sign of Pisces, for Aries also in the house of Pisces, wants us to have discipline in our mind, our brain. And by using that discipline through meditation, through different techniques, we can harness more of our latent brain power. And that's one of the keys to Aries happiness this month. If you love the things I'm offering and you want more, come become a member of my free VIP community by going to anniehelpsyou.com and just putting your email address there and your name, and you'll get all kinds of goodies, including my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine. You'll get my write-up of the month ahead, always a month early, for my favorite aspects, the ones to be most awareful and careful of, other sweet and salty dates, and a general write-up of the energies of the month and things to know, as well as links to my written horoscopes. Also, all kinds of blogs for your astrology kissed happy life. So you can see all of that, plus a lot of other free offerings I have at anniehelpsyou.com. And if you want to learn astrology, you can see some options there. And you can also go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com, for my Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course. If you think I offer a lot in my free offerings to the public, you should see what I put into that course. So if you want to go from any stage you're at with your astrological learning to be able to use that gift and that passion to earn money, I can help you do that. And even if you want to just learn for yourself to help your friends and family, the course is perfect for that. So you can see it at beastropro.com. Those links are also in the notes underneath the podcast or video. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.